All right, what is going on, guys? I wanted to tell another little story today, actually. The reason I'm telling this story isn't to kind of get attention or anything like that. It's just to do a couple of things. I want to show people that mental health or mental illness comes in many different forms, and it can do some weird things to you for sure. The other thing I wanted to do is, again, I want to show people that there's no reason to be embarrassed about what happens. It's always okay to talk about things, and it's okay to be vulnerable. It's all right not to be all right. So this one's pretty embarrassing. It's kind of weird, and it hasn't really happened to me like this before. But basically what happened, I don't know if you can tell, got a little bit of a bruise on my face from it. Essentially what happened was I was hanging out with a buddy of mine. We were kind of just talking, I was kind of venting, I guess. I've been a little bit stressed out recently. There's a couple of changes going on in my life, and I was just kind of talking to him about it. That being said, I was getting pretty worked up and getting pretty stressed out, pretty anxious. And like midway through a sentence, I just kind of blacked out. And what I mean by that is I literally, like, my eyes rolled back to the back of my head. I fell face first forward and hit my face on the ground, and I knocked myself out. I just realized how weird that sounds. So basically my buddy jumped on me and started shaking me, asking me if I was okay. And when I woke up, I punched him in the mouth or the chin. I think one of them. I don't really remember it. He just kind of told me right after. And then after that, I had woken up and I was back to myself again. So it was pretty frightening for him and pretty stressful for me. I don't really like being knocked out. It's pretty uncomfortable. For those of you that have ever been knocked out or had a concussion before, it sucks a lot. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about today is kind of what's been having me kind of feeling down. So sometimes I get these weird thoughts, and essentially I kind of start to tell myself that I'm in a failing mentality, or I'm a failure, or I feel like I'm just failing right now. Now, feeling like a failure can come from usually like one of two things. It's either A, internal, you're telling yourself you're a failure, or B, it's external and someone else is telling you that you're a failure. Either way, it sucks and it's not good, really. Feeling like a failure or thinking that you are a failure is probably the best way to get you into failing more often. Whether you want to call it the law of attraction or whatever you want to say, in my opinion, I just say if you have a bad attitude, probably going to attract some bad things. If you're telling yourself that you're a failure and you got low self-esteem, I guess, there's a couple of things going on. A, you're probably pretty comfortable or pretty stagnant. So you're probably just kind of sitting at one point of your life and you're not feeling like you're moving or doing anything. Or the other reason is probably like you're trying to change or you're trying to do something and it's just not going the way you planned. Maybe you've hit a couple roadblocks. I don't know, maybe a speed bump. Any other metaphors you want to use, but it's just not going the way that you anticipated. There's a couple of ways that you can get past this. The first thing I usually try and remind myself is control what you can control. You don't want to stress about the things that you're not able to change about a situation or control about a situation, because it's just a waste of energy and you're going to feel like a failure every single time. If you can't control it, why even try? An example of that would be like, hell, if it's raining outside, don't try and change the weather. Get an umbrella and control what you can control. Or stay inside or jump in your car, whatever it is. Now, another way that you can kind of start to get yourself out of that failure mentality is set small goals for yourself. Something that you can achieve on a daily basis and a weekly basis. And then what would that look like? How are you going to feel when you achieve it? What are the steps necessary to achieve that thing? Why is it important to you? These are all things that are going to kind of help you out when the motivation dips down, because it's gonna dip down. So think about these things through and through. For me, I always try and write down or think about, like, why is it important? what is the feeling that you're gonna get, and why do you even want to do this in the first place? I try and find goals that I can set daily and weekly. Daily goals are usually stuff that just makes me feel good about myself in that second, so I can get in a better state of mind to do something fun or something good for me. Weekly goals are something that takes a little bit longer, but those ones are a little bit more rewarding. So once you nail that, you want to kind of build up to more like monthly goals, and then maybe if you want to think of the year in quarters, you could think of it that way: 6-month goal, 1-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal, etc. Once you get better at executing this, you're going to be able to get yourself better at getting into a better place in your life, or somewhere that you feel is a better place in your life. It is going to be subjective. Nobody can tell you what's good for you, again, except your doctor. You should probably listen to them. Now, completely different story. Maybe someone's telling you that you're a failure. That sucks. Seriously, it does. Yeah, it sucks. It really does suck. And it's not always direct. It's not always like, you're a failure. Sometimes it can come in the forms of, why would you be doing that? Why are you wasting your time, man? Or, you sure that's a good idea? Maybe you should get a job. A lot of people are going to doubt some of the things that you're going to try and do when you set your goals. I find this to be very irritating, especially when it's people that are close to me, friends, family members, etc. It's a pretty sensitive topic because not a lot of people like telling their friends and family members to shut the hell up, but sometimes you have to. A lot of the times, people are going to doubt you. They might think that you aren't able to do something. They might even, in their heads, think that they're doing you a favor. They're trying to save you from an uncomfortable situation like denial or refusal. I'm going to tell you that those things are probably going to be good for you. Don't listen to those people. If you feel like you want to do something, use their no as motivation. I don't know about you, but there is nothing I like more when someone tells me I can't do something. I do it and then I tell them about it. Sometimes I even like showing them that. It could be part of my personality and maybe that's something I have to work on, but I try my very best to use other people's negativity to motivate me and make me feel good. I like it when people think things are difficult and then I can try and do them and make it look easy. Now, do I always make it look easy? Absolutely not. Do I always get it on my first try? Very rarely. If you ask my friends and family, I am not the most talented person. Definitely not on any sports team I've ever been on. And if I was the most talented athlete on any sports team, it wasn't a very competitive one. I'm pretty good at trying, man. And that's something that I think is a pretty good skill. I guess what I'm trying to say here is try your very best to use other people's negativity to fuel your motivation. Let that no remind you of how it feels for them to not do what they want to do, because that truly is what it is. Nobody that's going out and achieving their goals consistently tells other people not to do it. That's the secret. Someone that's going out and chasing their goals all the time knows what it's like to fail, and they know what it's like to fail a second time and a third time and a fourth time, because for a lot of people, that's the way it goes. I know it is for me. But if you don't try, you don't fail, you don't learn, and then you don't succeed in the end. In my experience, it feels a lot better to fail and then to try again and then to finally figure something out than it feels to either get something on my first try, sometimes that's boring, or not try at all and stay the exact same or in the same position I was in the first place. For these couple of reasons, I think it's always best to try and use the failure or the no's or the negativities that you get and try and use it for motivation. I used to have a manager at a place I used to work at, and he was one of the first people to tell me, the more no's you get, the closer you get to a yes. So you can kind of just take a look at that and realize the more times that you fail, the closer you get to that big win or that big success that's gonna make you kind of break through and feel good about yourself. So if you're feeling like a failure or you're not feeling good right now, realize two things. A, everything's temporary and it's going to change. B, that's a good thing. Each time you fail, you're one step closer to winning. Now set some goals on a daily basis, weekly basis, and when you can, a monthly basis. When you start crushing those, you're gonna get yourself into a better state of mind. Peace!